I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day. Spread my wings and fly away.
I love my job so much. We've done the 737. We've done the A320. Now I present to you, my flight sim fanatics, the Embraer E195 from X-Craft. I'm your trainer for today, Captain K-Man, and we're sitting at gate 167 at Toronto Pearson International in Canada, aboard Air Canada Flight 1113 for today's lesson. We'll be going over the usual suspects on this cold and dark tutorial: flight deck safety checks, power-up, panel scans, MCDU programming, and we'll do all the pushback, taxi out, and takeoff sequencing. Now, this particular payware aircraft I would consider to be a beginner to intermediate aircraft. In no way is this aircraft a study level simulation, as it is missing far too many things, such as proper startup logic, internal checks. The MCDU, while adequate, is missing a lot of functionality that the real E195 has. Now, that being said, this is still a great aircraft to fly, and for its price point, I think you get what you pay for. This sleek, state-of-the-art regional airliner is used all over the world for smaller airport flight operations. Of course, it can be seen at larger airports, such as Toronto here. And it's very versatile, a zippy little commercial jet, and it's extremely easy to set up and get running in no time at all. A lot of new commercial airline pilots will cut their teeth on this bird or similar aircraft, such as the CRJ series of aircraft from Bombardier. If you are new to the world of commercial airliners, then this is the plane for you. I'll try to explain what the real E195 does as I'm on the flight deck, and I'll try to stick to the startup procedures used by real airline pilots when utilizing this aircraft. This will differ in some ways to the procedures that you'll find in the manual. The nice thing about this aircraft, though, it is very forgiving if you screw up during startup, but let's try to get it right the first time. So, let's get on the flight deck and start the show, shall we? Alright, so here we are on the flight deck of the E195, and the first thing you may notice when comparing this to like the 737 or the A320 or any other heavy iron airliner out there is there's a lack of panels, knobs, and switches. Now, this is by design. If you thought the A320 was automated, you haven't seen anything yet. The E195 is designed to handle a lot of the workload and leave pilots free to do what they do best, which of course is fly the aircraft. So the first thing we want to do as we come onto the flight deck is the safety inspection, which is pretty standardized across any flight deck. We're going to make sure that the landing gear are down, that the flaps are up, that the spoilers are disarmed, and that the parking brake is currently set. Then we'll move to the overhead panel and we'll verify that the windshield wiper system is in the off position. Believe it or not, these guys actually suck battery juice like a vampire bat sucks blood, so that's why a lot of the safety checks when you come into the cold and dark, make sure that's off so we don't burn out the battery here. So that's it for the basic safety check. Only took a moment. So now we're going to go to the overhead panel here. I'll zoom in just a little bit. Fill the screen here. So now we're going to do the overhead panel scan, and this is kind of similar to the A320 in that we're going to go from left to right, bottom to top, and we're going to verify our switches are in the proper position. All right, a lot of these switches are going to be in the 12 o'clock position when we're done with this overhead scan. Now, there are exceptions, and I'll talk about those as we get to them here. So here we go, panel scan. So starting on the bottom left here on row number 1, we see that we have the cockpit lighting here. Now, this doesn't do anything right now because we don't have any power to the aircraft, but once there is power established and all of our monitors are coming online, we'll have the ability to adjust their brightness here. And if, of course, we were in the dark, This would illuminate the cockpit. So moving up to the electrical panel here, batteries 1 and 2 should both be in the off position, and the DC buses should also be in the off position. Moving to the middle panel here, you'll notice that the GPU light is currently illuminated. That's because the GPU cart is currently attached to the plane outside. So we're going to do a GPU start today, followed by an APU start. If you didn't have a GPU available to you, you would just go right on to the APU start. So there's that. So moving up to the AC power, we're going to go ahead and switch these to the auto position, and that's it for row number 1. Coming back down here to row number 2, we're going to check that our passenger signs are currently off and that the sterile system is in the auto position. Moving to the fuel panel here, check that the cross feeds are currently off. Then we're going to turn on ACE pumps 1 and 2 and the DC pump to the auto position. And that's it for row 2. Row number 3, our external lights. At this time, nothing should be in the on position. Everything should be off. Windshield wipers, once again, should be off. And the APU control system should be in the stop position. Moving over to panel 4, the pressurization mode selector should be in the auto position. And the oxygen life support dump control should be in dump mode. Moving to the hydraulics panel here, the system 1 and 2 should be in the auto position. System number 2 on the engine pump should be auto, and pump number 1 on the left side of the aircraft should be in the off position. Moving to the last panel here, passenger oxygen system should be in the auto position. Bleed control should be off. Anti-ice and AOA heat should be in the off position. No lights will be illuminated at this time other than the GPU light. All right? Pretty easy to set up, right? Okay, so let's get some power to the aircraft here. We're going to switch back over here to the left panel, and we're going to fire up the batteries here by turning battery 1 to the on position and
Toronto
battery 2
Pearson
to auto.
INTL Information Hotel. 1300 Zulu weather. Wind 270
We'll
at
wait for
11.
the avionics
Visibility more than 10.
to fire up
Sky
here.
clear. Temperature 19.
Now once we
minus 19.
have battery
Altimeter
power,
2977.
we'll have access to the MFD,
Arriving runways 24
the
left.
ICAS, and 1
23.
radio will be powered
Departing
up.
runways 24 right.
We'll turn off the
23.
caution alarm.
Advise on initial contact. You have hotel.
Okay. Let me move over to the panel here real quick.
Toronto Pearson INTL Info.
I'm going to go ahead and switch from the ATIS for right now. We'll go back to the overhead panel here. Now, in the real aircraft, once you have started the batteries, the aircraft immediately goes into a self-diagnostics mode, which unfortunately X-Craft did not bother to simulate. Right now, this area would be full of tons of messages as the aircraft starts testing all of its systems here. That test takes about 3.5 minutes to run through. And during that time, it's going to be testing all the actuators. It's going to be checking all the flight control surfaces and checking electrical systems and all that other good stuff. All right. So we're actually going to come over here and go to the electrical page right now. And we're going to note that right now the aircraft is running completely on battery power. So we're going to go back up to the overhead panel and we're going to turn on the ground power unit. You'll now notice all of our screens have become available and both radios are ready to rock and roll here. Also on the electrics panel, you'll notice that the GPU light is now illuminated, and you can see that it has made a connection to the rest of the aircraft. Now at this time we would switch over to the hydraulic system. Now this unfortunately is not simulated very well on the X-Craft version here of the Embraer. But at this point it's time to start getting the hydraulics heated up, which they don't even have a spot on our gauge here to show the temperature. There should be a temperature gauge right here on all 3 systems. And it usually starts really cold, and then it will slowly warm itself up. And while it's doing that, we can actually aid it by coming up to the hydraulic panel here and switching the PTU from the off position. As you can see, though, this button's not simulated, but this would normally be in the off position. We would turn it to the auto position at this time, and that would help start heating up the hydraulic fluids in all three systems. You can also grab a hold of the controls and actually jiggle them around a little bit and use your little foot pedals down here to help heat up the hydraulic system quicker. So now that we have ground power established to the aircraft, we can actually fire up the APU system. But before we do that, we need to do the fire safety check to make sure that the alarm system works, just in case the APU explodes and catches fire. So we do that by depressing the test button here. Hold it down for 3 seconds. And we're good. Alright, so next we come down to the APU control and we switch it to the on position. Come down to the ICAS here. This is unfortunately also not simulated by X-Craft, but at this time we would actually get a message on here saying that the APU is ready. We would also see the temperature gauge start to climb just a little bit, and the APU would actually rise to about 5 to 10%. That's a good indication that the APU is functional and it's ready to be started. So I'm going to start the chronometer here, and then I'm going to go over and I'm going to turn the APU control switch to the start position, and I'm going to hold it there for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, release. Come back down to the ICAS, and you'll notice here the APU is now firing up. Go back to the electrical systems, and you'll note here that the APU just kicked on and the GPU turned itself off. So now the aircraft smartly switched over the electrical system to the APU. The APU is 100%, so we can now go back to the overhead panel, push the APU generator button, and turn the GPU off. The aircraft is now fully powered, and we are done with the power-up sequence. Now it is time to get the MCDU programmed. So let's get dangerous. Alright, so now that we have power established to the aircraft and we're ready to program the MCDU, there's a few things that we need to take care of still in the overhead panel here. Now, before I actually started the APU up here, I should have turned on the red beacon. And now that we have full power, we can actually establish the passenger signs. No smoking on, fasten seatbelt on. And if the packs are currently getting on board the aircraft, we can go ahead and turn the bleed air selector switch to the APU, turn the bleeds on, and turn on the pack system. Adjust air conditioning as required. And then I also like to set the RTO brake at this time. And then it's time to dive into the MCDU. Alright, so when we fire up everything, and both of our MCDU radio decks are now functioning, the default screen that it gives you is in fact the radio screen here. This is where we can actually set up our navigation frequencies and set up our comm radios. Of course, you can also use the standard comm panel down here, but a lot of Embraer pilots find it more convenient to do the radios and navs on the actual MCDU. So, we don't actually have to touch anything here right now. Let's get started on programming here. So, first things first, we need to click on the MCDU index button here. And then down here, we're going to click on initialization. You'll see that the FMS data has initialized. I'm also going to need my flight plan in front of me here. Which, those of you who know me know that I use SimBrief for all my flight planning needs. So whatever software you use, be sure you have your flight plan available. You're going to need it for your waypoints and your fuel and your payload. You're going to need all that information as we start to program the MCDU. So, back into the aircraft here. Now, when programming the MCDU, it's important to remember that there's a big difference between how like the A320 and the 737 are programmed, because normally you'll put in the departure and arrival airport on the same page, and then you'll start putting in your routes. You'll put in your SIDs, then your en route, and then your star. The Embraer is a little bit different because it wants you to set up part 1 and part 3 first, then you can set up part 2. Part 1 being your departure, part 3 being your arrival, and part 2 of your flight planning being your en route waypoints here. So, to do that, we're going to go to the departure page first by clicking here, and we're going to tell the aircraft what airport we're at, which is Charlie, Yankee, Yankee, Zulu, and we're going to plug it in right here, and that's going to tell us the airport that we're at. Make sure it matches where you are in the real world. So we are in fact at Toronto Pearson International. Next up, given the ATIS and the fact that I want runway 23, and I've already told pilot to ATC to assign that to me, I'm going to click here, and I'm going to use my selector knobs here to scroll down to runway 23, and then I'm going to click this button right here on the selector knob to select it. You see that it plugged it in right here. Then I'm going to click here under the select SID. I'm going to go find the AVSEP 3, which is down here, runway 23. That's our departure today. And then I'm going to do select transition. And it is the lit mode, and that's already pre-selected, so we'll just plug that in. You'll see here it says SID has been stored. So, now we go back to the MCDU index page, and we're going to go to the arrival airport, and we're going to do the same thing. Charlie, Yankee, Quebec, Romeo. Plug that in. Make sure it matches the airport we're going to, which is Regina International. We're expecting runway 13 for our arrival today. The star today is the Kimka 4. We're going to select Kimka 4, runway 13. Transition point. After Kimka, we're going to head to Victor Lima November for the ILS 13Z approach, so I'm going to select that and select my approach as the ILS. The star element has been stored. Alright, so we can go back to the MCDU index. And now that we have the SID and the star programmed in, now it's time to program in all the connecting waypoints between the SID and the star, aka part 2 here. Alright, to do that we're going to go to the Add Route Waypoints. And this is the screen that we're presented with here. Now, you really need your flight plan in front of you now, because we actually have to tell the Embraer MCDU computer what kind of waypoint we're going to. Is it a VOR? Is it a non-directional beacon? Is it a fixed point? Is it another airport? The aircraft does not know what kind of waypoint you want to plug in. This is a big departure from the A320 and the 737 or the Boeing way you program the aircraft here, where you just have to put in the waypoint and it figures everything else out. The Embraer requires you to know what kind of waypoint you're plugging in here. And you'll also notice another thing here. It says waypoint 1 right here. Well, we know that this is not truly waypoint 1. What it's telling you is this is waypoint 1 of the en route waypoints. Because if we go back to our index here, we go to the SID edit, you can see we already have 6 waypoints here for the SID. And under star edit, we have another 10 waypoints there for the star arrival. Alright, so what it's looking for is the en route waypoints. And it's looking for waypoint number 1 after we exit the lit mode transition of our SID. So, the reason why we need our paperwork in front of us now is because we're going to scroll down to where all the waypoints are for the actual IFR dispatch that we've been assigned. And we're going to go find the next available waypoint after the lit mode transition, which is Sierra Sierra Mike. Now, because it has a frequency here of 112.20, I know that this is a VOR DME station. Alright, so we're going to go back into the aircraft here, And you'll notice here you got these buttons that say airport, VOR, NDB, and fixed. This is the type of waypoint when you're in the add route waypoint screen. This is the type of route that you want. Well, we know that this is a VOR, so we're going to select VOR. You'll notice up here it changes it to the type VOR. Now next, I'm going to look at my paperwork, and I'm going to see that my flight level for today's flight is 34,000 feet. So I'm going to actually plug that in right now here under altitude. And what that's going to do is for every new waypoint that I add, it's going to automatically put 34,000 feet onto the scratch pad, so I don't have to mess with it again. All right. So Sierra Sierra Mike is the waypoint. We're going to plug that in right here. Verify that that is in fact the DME VOR station that we're looking for. So this is the Sault Ste. Marie. That is what we want. You'll notice that the text is turned yellow. If it's turned yellow, that means you've made changes to this waypoint, but you haven't saved them yet. So we need to click the save button here to put that into the computer. You'll notice that it automatically forwarded us to waypoint number 2. So, looking at our paperwork again, Yankee Quebec Tango is our next waypoint. So Yankee Quebec Tango. That is a VOR station as well. So I'm going to plug that in right here. That's Thunder Bay. That is correct. I'm going to save that. It advances us to waypoint number 3. Now, waypoint number 3 is actually the start of a jetway. Come back up here. We just put in Yankee Quebec Tango, and now we have the J500 jet airway that terminates at Victor Bravo Indigo. All right. So anytime you get a jetway like this, we're going to go back over into our computer, and we're going to select airways as our next waypoint number 3 here. Now here you'll use the knob to select the jetway that you're looking for. Now ours just happens to be at the top already. We're looking for the J500. There's the starting waypoint, YQT, and there's the ending, BBI. So we're going to select that. Next it's going to ask us how we want to exit out of this airway. Well, the exit is BBI, so we're going to select that. Airway has been accepted. And there's not much to that airway. It's really just between 2 points. That's all it really is. Now we do have one more en route waypoint here. This is actually a fix. It's not a VOR or an NDB. So we're going to click the fix button to change our type, and then we're going to type in foreign. We'll plug that in right here, and we'll save that. And that is the end of our en route waypoints. From foreign, it goes into Kimka, which is the start of the star arrival of the Kimka 4 arrival. So, go back to the MCDU index here, and we can actually take a look at all of our waypoints here. There's our SIDS. It terminates at Litmo. Then under our routes, we pick up at SSM. Then we pick up at Thunder Bay here. Thunder Bay turns into Jetway 500, which is actually, there's nothing to that jetway really. It just terminates at VBI. Then we have a fixed point of foreign. Then from foreign, we go to our star edit, and you will see that Kimka is where we begin our star all the way down to runway 13. Now, a little bit of an advanced tab here. You'll notice that the MCDU has automatically plugged in a bunch of altitudes here. If you don't like these, or if you want to make a more shallow VNAV climb up out of the airport, this is where you would come in and change these using your wheel here. You can actually go into each one of these waypoints. Say I want to, at AVSEP, I want to be at 18,000 feet. I can go in here and I can actually set 18,000 feet right here, and then click update waypoint. And you'll notice it now says 18,000 feet. So if you want to actually build your VNAV profile, that's how you're going to do it for every page. Alright? For more information on VNAV programming, consult the X-Craft Embraer Series User's Manual. So now that we have our waypoints programmed in, we actually need to get the aircraft's preferences set up here. So we're going to click the Prefs button. And this is where we're going to set our fuel and our payload on board and all that other good number crunching information that we're going to need. So I need 19,100 pounds of fuel today, and that's going to translate to 9,550 per fuel tank. So I'm going to put that in. And as you're changing the fuel values here, it's actually changing the actual physical fuel in the wing tanks. This is how they do their refueling in the X-Craft. Next up, I need to get the payload off my load sheet here. That's 28,060 pounds. So we'll plug that in right here. And that gives us our total takeoff weight of 111,029 pounds. This also gives us our trim requirement based upon our current center of gravity readings. Now by default, it's got your center of gravity set at 23% here, which is kind of a typical value. Unfortunately, it doesn't auto-calculate any of this stuff. If you really want to get super accurate, you're going to have to calculate it yourself. And that is an equation that I have not yet learned how to program on my own. So, for now, we're just going to assume 23%, center of gravity of 52.44, based upon our current weights and fuel load. That's going to give us a trim requirement of 1.8 up. So if we look up, you'll see here we have the pitch trim indicator with a value of 0. I'm going to grab a hold of my trim trigger button here, and I'm going to set my trim to 1.8 up. And there you can see the value now says 1.8 up, and it matches the trim requirements. Next, I'm going to set my flaps. I want a flaps 2 departure today. And that's going to give us our V speeds of 147, 149, and a V2 of 151. Remember that 151, all right? Because we're going to add plus 20 knots to that. So it's going to be 171 is what we're going to put in the autopilot. All right, so we're done with this page. We're going to go to preference page number 2 here. So our top of climb, when we hit our top of climb today, we're going to be at 34,000 feet. And our final cruise is going to be 34,000 feet. Now, if you had a step climb at your top of your top of climb, which we kind of do on this here, it says we'll be at 32,000 feet until we reach Yankee Quebec Tango. So technically, we could come in here and be like 32,000 feet is our initial. And then our final cruise will be 34,000 feet. That's how you get that in there. We're going to cruise at 0.78 Mach today. And our wind speeds at top of climb are 240. And they are gusting at 50 knots. And you can see here, it's 1,166 miles to our destination. It's going to require 3.12 hours to get there, and we're going to burn 13,006 pounds of fuel. This is our approach preference page. This is basically showing the V speeds for our different flap settings. Alright, so we're going to probably do a full flaps landing when we get there, so our V speed is going to be 132. This is where you also tell the system if you're going to have anti-ice or not. Okay, so preferences are all locked into the system. We're going to go back to the MCDU, and now we're going to click the execute button. And that puts the entire plan into the computer. We can now click the status button here and get information about the aircraft's current position, what kind of nav source we're currently on, what the radios are set at, and all that other good stuff. Waypoint, time to the next waypoint, all that stuff is in here. It shows how many waypoints are for our departure, how many waypoints are for our arrival, and how many manual entries we did. We did 4 manual entries on our waypoint here. Now I'm going to go back to the MCU index. I'm going to go into the autopilot here, and I'm going to set my initial autopilot today. Our departure runway is 230, which I think translates to 226. I don't have my charts up in front of me, so I'm going to put 226 here for our initial heading. Our target altitude, we don't know what that's going to be right now. This is how we can set our initial limit. So what we actually need to do right now is we need to contact clearance delivery here and get our IFR clearance here. So we're going to do that right now. Air Canada 1113, radio check. Make sure we still got power here.
Toronto Pearson INTL Information Tango.
That we do, okay. Air Canada 1113, radio check.
Air Canada 113, you are loud and clear.
There we go. All right, let's get our clearance here. Air Canada 1113, ready to copy IFR clearance.
Air Canada 113 is cleared to Charlie Yankee Quebec Romeo. Fly the AVSEP-3 departure, with the LITMO transition, then as filed. Expect departure runway 23. Maintain 5,000 feet.
There we go, 5,000
Expect
feet.
higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Departure on 128.8 squawk 6620.
And we're going to shoot for 1,800 vertical speed. And what did you say on that? 6620? Where is that at? Where is my computer? Whoa, I am completely screwed up here. Oh my god, I've lost the TCAS. Where the hell's the TCAS system? Ugh. Oh, derp. There we go. Put this in standby mode. Kind of forgot to turn that on. That's part of the power-up procedure. Remember, don't forget to turn the transponder to standby mode when you're powering up the aircraft. Okay, and that's 6620. 6620. Oh, I screwed that up. 6620. There we go. Alright, let's do the read back here. Air Canada 1113 is cleared to Charlie Yankee Quebec Romeo. Fly the AVSEP-3 departure with the LITMO transition, then is filed. Maintain 5,000 feet. Expect higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Departure on 128.8, squawk 6622. Shit.
Read back incorrect.
Yeah.
Air Canada 113 squawk 6620.
I screwed up the squawk code. Oops. Squawk 6620, Air Canada 1113.
Air Canada 113 read back correct. Altimeter 2977 contact ground on 121.65 when ready to taxi. Enjoy your morning.
Altimeter 2977 contact ground on 121.65, Air Canada 1113. Oh, I didn't read. You suck. Hang on, let me try that again. Altimeter 2977, contact ground on 121.65, Air Canada 1113. Oh, it doesn't understand 1113. Why do you not understand 1113? Oh, it's dropping the one on the front there. Oh, why are you doing that? Altimeter 2977, contact ground on 121.65, Air Canada 113. There we go. was I? Oh, what did he say? Hang on. I'm all screwed up here. You screw one thing up, talking to ATC, man, it'll throw you for a loop. Ground was 121.65. 121.65. There we go. That's what I wanted. I needed ground there. Okay. And we'll go ahead and swap over to the ground frequency. Cool. All right. So, our computer is programmed. The autopilot is set. The transponder is programmed. We are ready to get out of here. So, one last thing before we get started. I'm going to click the radio button here to get us back to the front page here. And I'm going to go ahead and program in our radios, our navigation radios here for our waypoints. Now our first navigation VOR DME station was frequency 112.20. So I'm going to go 112.20. I'm going to put that in here. And I'm going to swap it. And then radio 2 I want to set for 114.10. 114.10. Put that here. Oop, did I screw something up? Oh, I screwed something up. Try that again. 114.10. Thank you. And we'll swap that out. All right, over to the progress page. Here's our total flight plan. Just to make sure everything looks hunky-dory. We'll scroll through here. I'm happy with that. Back to the progress page, and that's where we will stay for now. All right, everybody. We are totally done with the ground handling, guys, so all of y'all can go away. We're going to switch over to the status page. Make sure all of our doors are closing up here. There we go. All doors are closed. We're going to lock up the aircraft now. And we'll lock the door here. Nobody else is allowed inside this cockpit. And we're going to call up the pushback guys. So, delete. Let's see, runway, which way are we facing? We're going to push back like this, and then we're going to turn this way. Why not? We'll just go this way for now. And
ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
all right, so now that we're ready, there's a few things that we need to do here in the overhead panel to get 100% ready to take off. So over here on the left side panel, we're going to turn on the DC buses here. All right, we're going to switch on the nav lights to let them know we're ready to get out of here. We're going to turn on hydraulic pump A, and we're going to turn the packs off. Window heat is on, ice protection on for the engine systems, and we are ready for an engine start here. So we'll go ahead and call the tug up.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
And here he comes, and we'll let ground know we're ready to push. Air Canada 113, ready for pushback and engine start.
Air Canada 113 pushback and engine start approved.
Pushback and engine start approved, Air Canada 113.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Alright, so in the Embraer, there's a little nice feature here, which is the checklist book. We've already gone through safety and power on procedures, which if you go by theirs, you get the same end results. So pre-flight, procedures and route waypoints entered, waypoint altitudes entered, cruise speed has been entered, cruise OAT optional has been entered and verified, cruise winds entered and verified.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Yeah, give us a second here. Initial cruise altitude has been entered and final cruise altitude has been entered and verified. Before start sequence here today, fuel quantity verified. We have 19,100 pounds on board. Altimeters are set to 977. Passenger signs are on. Of course, you would do your departure review before this point, so we'll just assume that we did it. Departure review is complete. All doors and windows are closed and locked. Red beacon is on. Parking brake is set. Before start checklist complete. Release the parking brake for the push.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Alright, thank you very much. Alright, engine startup, AC power is auto. All buses are set auto. Navigation light is on. APU is started. Bleed air APU select verified. All displays are on and checked. And we are ready to ignite engines 1 and 2. So we're going to do that right now. To start the engines on this bad boy, it's pretty simple. You just turn the ignition switch to the auto position, flip open the safety cap, and we're going to turn this, we're going to left click and hold it down all the way to the start, and we're going to count to 4 and then release. 1, 2, 3, 4, release. And we'll watch for the engine spool up here. There we go. Good start on number 2. And we'll start number 1. Ignition to auto. 1, 2, 3, 4. Release. Close the cap. Verify the engine is spooling up. And we got a good start on engine number 1. On the electrical page, you'll now note that engine 1 and 2 generators are now fully operational, and the aircraft is now being supplied by both the APU and the engine generators at this time. Over to the flight control page here, once this guy's done pushing us. So both engines are started, so we're going to go over here to the bleed switch, and we're going to switch it to both. Come on. And turn the packs on. Put the AC back on for our passengers back there.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Parking brake is set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Alright, go ahead and set flaps 2 for today's departure.
Hose disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. Well, see you next time and have a safe flight.
Thank you. All right, and signals are good. We are ready to go. So we'll bring up our checklist here again. Engine 1 and 2, ignition auto. Both engine 2 and 1, verified start. The APU can now be switched off. Bleed air set to both. Air conditioning packs are on. Engine startup complete. After start checklist. Let's do a flight controls check, please. Full left, full right, centered, full back, full forward, center, right rudder, or should put left rudder, right rudder. Know your left from your right, Mr. Navy. Know your left from your right. All right, done. Flight controls check completed. Pitch verified 1.8 in the up position. Takeoff data today. You got to go back to our VREFs page for that. Oh, where am I? Where am I? Who am I? Go back to preference page number 1, please. Thank you. All right, so V1 today is 147, VR is 149, and V2 is 151. I actually screwed up here. Go back to the autopilot. We wanted to set 171 as our initial target speed here. Oh, wrong. Reset. These buttons aren't quite aligned properly. 171. There we go. Now my autopilots are set. Back to the progress page. Okay. Good to go. Turn on the flight directors. ECAS check, verify it. The only thing we got is the parking brake. Once we release that, everything will be good. Shoulder harnesses are on and verified. Flaps level 2. After start checklist is complete. Clear the master caution. Parking brake disengaged. Air Canada 113, ready to taxi runway 23.
Air Canada 113 taxi to runway 23 via taxiways Alpha Lima, Alpha, Hotel, Quebec, hold short runway 23.
Taxi to runway 23 via taxiways Alpha Lima, Alpha, Hotel, Quebec, hold short runway 23, Air Canada 113. Okay, parking brake is off. Let's give her the gas and start moving. So we need to turn around here in the ramp. Here we go. Blame Canada, blame Canada. I'm so glad X-Camera finally fixed the cameras not remembering what page they're on between categories. So now I can actually switch back and forth between categories, and it will remember where I was last. Which is nice. This is Alpha Lima. And that is our turn on to Alpha. I wish I knew what was causing that stutter. I probably needed to reboot my computer before I started recording all this. It's been several days. Alright, this is Alpha. Okay. Hydraulics check. Hydraulics are all good, fully pressurized, good quantity. Fuel check. We have good fuel flow, good fuel temperature. Electrical systems. All electrics are currently being provided now by engines 1 and 2. That's good. The ECS system. Temperatures are good, recirc fans are good, packs are being fed air, and the anti-ice system is not required right now. It is in standby mode. Alright, over to navigation mode. Going to remove this for a second because I don't need that or that. I do need the TCAS stuff, so we'll leave that on. Also make my range 5 miles for the departure. There we go. Now give me back my steering wheel. Alright, watch that taxi speed, boys and girls. For some reason with this aircraft, I get this weird, funky shadow line that follows the aircraft across a certain point. You can see it moving there. Oh, that stutter pause is going to drive me insane. It's a very, very nice freeware Toronto airport here that I pulled off the org website. The wing flex is real. You can actually see the wings bouncing over there. Alright, slow down a little bit so we can make this turn. And there's 2-3 up ahead. Oh, do you really want me to taxi all the way to the back?
Air Canada 113 contact tower on 118.35, have a good morning.
Tower on 118.35, Air Canada 113. They want me to use all of the threshold area as a run-up.
Approaching 2-3.
Actually, the hold line was back there. Should have held already. Oh well. We need to put our transponder here into active mode. Boop, 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 boop. We're now transmitting. Alright, let's call it in. Air Canada 113 holding short runway 23, ready for departure.
Air Canada 113 winds are 260 at 11 knots, cleared for takeoff, runway 23.
Strobe on. Oh, I totally forgot to turn on the taxi lights. Alright. Clear for takeoff, runway 23, Air Canada 113.
On runway 23.
Ooh, this runway is bumpy. All right, break it and checklist. All right. Takeoff minimum fuel quantity verified as requested. Transponder is transmitting. Test configuration.
No takeoff trim.
No takeoff trim. What you talking about, Willis? Try again.
No takeoff. Trim.
Oh, what do you mean no trim? Sorry, Tower, we're kind of holding up the show, I know. Oh,
On runway
our trim
2,
requirements changed.
3. On runway 2, 3.
There we go. Take off.
Takeoff. Okay.
There we go. They changed the trim on me. I guess because I put in some new values there earlier. Should have verified that. Alright, the speed brakes are in the armed position. Before takeoff checklist complete. Take off. Start the chronometer. And here we go. FMS is the navigation style. Alright, stabilized. Toga. Speed is alive. 80 knots. Rotate.
E2.
Airborne. Gear up. Positive rate. And right hand turn. Go ahead and set the auto throttle system here, set navigation mode, and arm the autopilot. Whoa, level change, please. I still do not know how to use the autopilot
Air
on
Canada
here.
113 turn right heading 291 cleared current position direct till on then is filed.
Auto throttle.
Air Canada 113 climb and maintain 10,000 feet.
Climb and maintain 10,000 feet, Air Canada 113.
Air Canada 113 contact Toronto departure on 128.8. Enjoy.
And flaps up, please. Speed to 250. Whoop, too fast. Departure on 128.8, Air Canada 113. I'm saturated. Air Canada 113 with you out of 7,000 feet for 10,000 feet.
Air Canada 113 good morning. Radar contact.
Oh, there's beautiful nothing. Yay, clouds. Can we get out of the clouds, please, so I can see the aircraft? That would be very nice. Yeehaw! There we go. All right.
Air Canada 113 descend and maintain 10,000 feet.
Oops, blew past it. Oops, I set the wrong altitude. Alright, alright, alright. You get the basic idea, right? Descend and maintain 10,000 feet, Air Canada 113. Slowly creep. Woo. Okay, enough. I'm not here to fly an entire flight. Okay, ignore the autopilot part because I continuously screw up that one part. You have to be sure. Just going back here. You have to turn on flight level change before you click autopilot, or else the plane will nose over rapidly and then try to recover itself. I'm still learning the autopilot, so forgive me. This was not a tutorial on how to use the autopilot.
113 contact Toronto Center on 124.902. Enjoy your morning.
Center on 124.902. Take care, Air Canada 113. Air Canada 113 with you at flight level 1 something.
Air Canada 113, good morning. Radar contact. Maintain 10,000 feet.
I forgot to file the proper cruise altitude at pilot to ATC, so it only wants me to go to 10,000 feet the entire flight. Oops. Oh well. So there you have it.
Aircraft calling center, say again with your call sign.
No, go away. So there you have it anyway. That's the power-up procedures and programming of the MCDU and getting the aircraft actually off the ground. So, wasn't the smoothest of takeoffs. That was a really hilly runway. That thing was crazy. But anyway, we got the airplane into the air. We're not dead, and we're heading towards our destination. So, hooray, we did everything that we needed to do. So, there we go. Hopefully you found this entertaining, amusing, completely useless, something. Let me know. Anyway, have fun flying the E195, and we'll see you on our next fully loaded flight. We're going to be doing the Airbus A320 in Europe, so that'll be a new experience for me. I'll probably get everything wrong. It'll be amazing. We'll have a good laugh and a good cry together. Until next time, see ya. Stutter, 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 stutter.